Many potential buyers feel overwhelmed by the complexities of the Italian real estate market and the legal requirements involved. We will explore key topics such as the buying process, financing options, and tips for navigating the Italian bureaucracy. Please keep in mind that we are not realtors or provide legal advice, that this information can easily be obtained by anyone on the internet, and that the basis of the information we share on this video comes from our own personal experience. We really hope that you enjoyed this video. Whether you can purchase property in Italy will depend on whether your country of passport has a reciprocity agreement with Italy. For the most part, if Italian citizens can purchase property in your country, this will mean that you could purchase property in Italy. Bear in mind that reciprocity can be complex, and in some cases there are complications that can get in the way of citizens of certain countries purchasing property in Italy. In such cases, prospective buyers may require legal representation. You can find out if reciprocity exists by searching on the internet or contacting the Italian embassy in your country. In Italy, there are popular websites where you can search for properties according to your preferred location and budget. Some of these websites are Idealista, Casa.it, Immobiliare.it, or Trovacasa.it. However, many properties are not advertised and get sold by word of mouth or foot traffic. So taking a stroll around an area you're interested in may be a good idea, as you may come across a Vendesi sign. Getting a loan in Italy as a foreigner is usually not possible. Italian banks only lend to Italian residents with an Italian employer for properties priced over 50,000 euros. Therefore, the typical expat wouldn't be able to get a loan. We have asked many of the professionals we collaborate with, and the consensus is the same. There might be other solutions out there, and we really hope loans become easily available in the future. But as it stands today, you will need to pay cash for your Italian home or arrange financing from a bank in your country of residency. Generally speaking, Italians don't use lawyers when purchasing property in the same way we do, for example, in countries like Australia. However, it is not uncommon that foreigners who don't speak Italian, don't understand the purchase process, or are not physically in Italy want to use the services and support of a legal professional. Enlisting the services of a lawyer can take away some of the pressure during this process, as well as save you from doing a lot of the legwork yourself, particularly if you require translations, notarizations, and apostilles. This part comes down to the individual. The notary doesn't represent either the seller nor the buyer. Some of the notary's duties during a purchase process or compravendita of a property are, in a nutshell, the following: to verify that the seller owns the property, to verify that the property is free from mortgages or other constraints, easements, foreclosures. The notary also carries out checks and research on the land registers and at the land registry offices. To purchase property in Italy, you mainly need two documents: a current passport and your Codice Fiscale. Your Codice Fiscale or Codice Fiscale can be obtained from your closest Italian embassy, the taxation office in Italy, or a third party that offers the service at a fee. Keep in mind that some notaries may ask for a myriad of extra supporting documents, besides your passport and Codice Fiscale. Notaries in Italy have discretionary power, therefore there can be a difference in the way a notary interprets the law and how they approach the purchase process. This answer depends on many factors. It can take from a few weeks to a few months to even longer than that. Timeframes can be affected by whether all documentation is up to date, whether the notary has available appointments, whether you have your Codice Fiscale, whether you have provided all documentation including notarizations and apostilles if needed, whether your funds have come through and have been received by all parties, among other things. Usually, you and the seller will agree on a closing date and work towards meeting this deadline. Whether you require a bank account or not will depend mainly on the notary you use. We are aware of many transactions that have gone through without Italian bank accounts, and a few instances whereby it was a requirement from the notary for the buyer to hold an Italian bank account to transfer the funds from. The issue is that opening bank accounts for foreigners in Italy is not that easy. Some foreigners even have to use legal representation to be able to open one. So, you see, the flexibility of the particular notary you use could make your life easier or harder during this process. If you're finding any useful information on this video, please remember to subscribe. Subscribing is free and it will help us reach more people like you so that we can continue making this content. We couldn't finish this frequently asked questions session without addressing costs. Here you will see the main costs, but it is recommended to keep aside some money for contingencies. There is nothing more stressful than being down to the wire money-wise during this process, particularly if you consider currency variations. You will have the property cost, of course, which usually is paid by making an initial deposit to commence the process and then the final amount prior to the closing date. Then you will have the transfer fees, which are based on the cadastral value of the property. This fee is 2% if this property will be your main residence, or 9% if it will be a holiday home. You will have 18 months from the date of purchase to take up residency at the property if you chose the agevolazione prima casa or first home benefit. Another fee is the notary fee, which varies among notaries. Some can start at around 2,000 euros, but this is only an estimate. If the property is for sale by a realtor, you will need to add their fee, of course. In Italy, unlike in other countries, the realtor is paid by both the buyer and the seller. So be sure to find out the cost of this early in the process to avoid surprises if you come from a country that operates differently. The realtor fee usually depends on the price of the property. For lower priced properties, it tends to be a flat fee instead of a percentage. This fee usually starts at around 3,000 euros to 3,500 euros, but it varies. For the higher priced properties, it tends to be a percentage from around 3 to 4%. If you use a home finding services such as ours or liaising services or similar, remember to add that amount to your expenses. Don't forget about the people and services that actually made it possible for you to find your Italian home from the comfort of your home. If you use a property lawyer, that will be a separate cost. Lawyers will have a set fee regardless of the price of the property. If you don't speak Italian, the notary most likely will require an interpreter to be present. The rate is around 50 euros, but it can vary, depending on location and availability. Now that these questions have been addressed, let's move on to the actual process, and be sure to stick around until the end for tips on how to avoid certain pitfalls. Now that you have a better understanding about what is involved in purchasing property in Italy, let's look into the actual process. Once you have identified your home, you need to ascertain whether it is for sale by a realtor or if it is a private sale. If it is a private sale, you can choose to liaise directly with the seller yourself or enlist the representation of a realtor or a property lawyer. Keep in mind that most Italians don't speak English, and many realtors don't speak English either, so you will need to be patient and flexible. Make the appropriate inquiries. Of course, it goes without saying that you will find out as much information as you need to be comfortable with prior to making an offer. Please don't make an offer only to change your mind later, as contracts are binding and you might be liable to pay deposits and other fees even if you don't go through with the purchase. Also, keep in mind that in Italy, for the most part, holding deposits are non-refundable if you change your mind. Make an offer. Once you make an offer that is accepted, usually an agreement is followed. This agreement is called promessa di compravendita. On this document, the owner will agree to sell the property to you and you will agree to purchase the property. This protects both parties and establishes the responsibility of each. Pay the deposit. After this document is signed, usually it is when the buyer pays the agreed non-refundable deposit. Then the owner will provide the required documentation to the notary for them to do the appropriate checks and searches and book an appointment for the closing of the purchase or atto notarile. Pay the realtor. Soon after the agreement is signed, you will be required to pay the realtor. Once the notary has all documentation, they will inform you of the total closing costs. Pay the remainder amounts. Prior to the closing date, you will be required to transfer the remainder of the funds to make up the 100% of the purchase price. Also, the amount of the property transfer fee as well as the notary fee. Close on the property. On the agreed date, the deed will be signed. Once the notary has assured that all parties have been paid. It is on this date that you will receive the key to your brand new Italian home. The Codice Fiscale or Italian tax code is a number you will need for many transactions in Italy, including purchasing a home, connecting services, paying your property taxes, and more. For the most part, an offer without a Codice Fiscale is not really taken seriously, so be sure to get ahead of this easily avoidable mistake. Let's assume that your notary doesn't require you to have an Italian bank account. In that case, there are many international money transfer services such as Wise, Revolut, or others that have low fees and fair conversion rates for you to send the funds. Be sure you set up such accounts ahead of time and also be aware of the exact amount that the recipient will get, as amounts are to be written on the deed down to the cent, and this may create problems down the track if not done properly. If you're not familiar with these services, be sure to check the description section of this video for more details. Italians are usually conservative, and your word still means a lot here. So try not to contact owners or realtors saying that you want to make an offer unless you really mean it. Otherwise, you will lose credibility and potentially get on people's bad side. People here, for the most part, are helpful and efficient, so try to be a little patient and don't expect that your email will be answered immediately. Following up is okay, but remember to be kind, cordial, and try as much as possible to have simple, straightforward communication. We hope that by addressing the most frequently asked questions and outlining the main aspects of the property purchase process in Italy, you can have a better understanding on how you will approach your own journey once you have finally found the perfect home for you. Thank you so much for watching this video. We hope that you enjoyed it. As always, please let us know your thoughts in the comment section. We have a lot more content for you to enjoy. If you would like to continue watching our home tours, please click here. If you would like to see our own home and renovation story, click here. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Ciao!